Excadrill has finally returned to competitive Pokemon in Generation 9, and it was a very big influence in Generation 5 as well as Generation 8 with Dynamax in the format. However, can it withstand the test of time as all the power creep? Is it still a good mon with that Sword Stance option and Clear Amulet set that we're going to be trying out in today's video? This is a team that focuses on dishing out very high, heavy, fast damage with the Sand Rush Excadrill as well as the Extreme Speed Dragonite. You have the Sword Stance Excadrill with Clear Amulet, so you don't have to worry about any Intimidates from the likes of Incineroar, and dishes out quite a bit of immediate damage output, and especially with that Sword of Rune pact, doesn't even need the Sword Stance to rely on it, but after Sword Stance, absolutely incredible damage output. To help set it up, we have the Follow Me Wellspring Ogerpon that's able to be bulky, pairs up really nicely with Excadrill being able to resist the ground type attacks, as well as the immunity to water type moves, and that Follow Me just always going to be able to help out. That Tyranitar with the Assault Vest set, able to take special attacks extremely well, good into other weathers as well as the Trick Room teams, which is always really nice. Pairs well with Excadrill, able to help out quite a bit, and the Assurance combinations that you can do with Excadrill, very powerful. Double Rock Slide if they are slow, can always get that flinch change. Just a really incredible mon. This one running the Terra Grass and the Terra Blast to help out against the Wellspring Ogerpons or Shifus, as well as potential Dundozos if they don't Terra. With this combination, you also have the Tornadus, and this one is rocking the Sandstorm as well as Sunny Day. You have two options to help out against the water type coverage. You have Sandstorm as a sand setter in case you don't want to bring Tyranitar into matchup. You also want Tailwind as well, but Sunny Day also to help out with reducing the power of the water type moves that could affect these Pokemon. With the Dragonite and Xianpao, of course, Sword of Ruin. Xianpao with the Life Orb with Focus Sash, it would be pretty hard to run on the Sand team because it would most likely be broken. So you run the Life Orb, able to dish out a lot of damage. You have that Ice Parent to help get rid of terrain from Rillaboom, for instance, and pick up some extra power in the knockouts. And then finally, the Choice Band Dragonite is able to do a lot of damage, which can either be used as a really effective endgame sweeper after Excadrill's done a lot of damage, or it can also be used as a way to open up the doors with really powerful attacks with the Xianpao in the start of the game for a cleanup sand mode in the end game. If you would like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. Incineroar, Porygon to Xianpao, Goldengo, or Shifu Amoonguss. Okay, looks like a team that I really do like Wellspring Ogerpon against. They don't exactly have, I think, the best threats to the Wellspring Ogerpon. I do like Excadrill quite a bit here because if I can Sword Stance up, especially against like the Goldengo that can't do too much, especially with the Wellspring Ogerpon intact, I think it's a pretty powerful tool here. I think the remainder, I would like Tyranitar, and I probably... Do I want Torn, I guess is the question. I don't really like Torn in this matchup. It doesn't accomplish anything. Probably Dragonite, just so I have better ways to pressure Amoonguss and also the Urshifu. And maybe, like, if I need to clean up the Xianpao. I don't need the... Yeah, I think this is pretty solid overall. I don't think I need my own Xianpao, as I believe that the Excadrill should be able to get knockouts even without the Sword of Ruin. And Dragonite's just good offensively against this team, so we'll see. I think the only problem is I don't have Aerial Ace, unfortunately, on the Dragonite, which that could be a bit of a concern, but I should still have like enough pressure. We're gonna see Incineroar and the Porygon, so this is perfectly acceptable. I am going to be able to get in my Excadrill immediately, and I will just go for some pretty powerful attacks. They do get a +1 special defense, which does kind of hurt, but overall I don't think this is too bad. I'm gonna go for an Ivy Cudgel and a high horsepower. Just do I don't know if you're gonna fake out. I don't know if he would Flare Blitz either, because he could fake out. You have a few options, I suppose. I like the idea of just getting damage in Incineroar, because if they don't fake out, unless they Terra, I should get the knockout, and if they swap, this is okay as well. Let's see what's coming in. It'll be Amoonguss, but Amoonguss is so passive, and I can just Sword Stance the following turn, so I do like this position regardless. I also got a crit on the Amoonguss, which is unfortunate for them, but I don't think it's too big of a deal because I was planning the Sword Stance. I guess I missed a high horsepower, which maybe helps because they might be... Ooh, Icy Wind. What? Okay. I do have to Clear Amulets. I'm not too concerned. I guess I just Follow Me and I go for a Sword Stance with the Excadrill. Huh. Icy Wind Porygon, not Trick Room here. I don't have to worry about Trick Room Element, which Means Tyranitar plus Excadrill is going to be a really good combination afterward. The Swords Dance Amoonguss might go down to high horsepower afterward. Tri Attack going to be fired off. It is not Terra Blast. Interesting. Spore attempt. Nice. Now I should be able to KO Amoonguss. So I think my ideal play is just, I have two options, go into Tyranitar or just Horn Leech. I like the idea of just Horn Leeching the Porygon for the damage, and I might as well just high horsepower the Amoonguss. +2 should easily KO. They don't have a good swap, so high horsepower into Amoonguss does pick up the knockout. Nice. It was Rocky Helmet, so actually the previous, dodge was actually a little bit helpful, but it's not too bad, not too bad. A Horn Leech will be fired off into Porygon. I do get some free chip into the Porygon. I get to preserve the Tyranitar, which is solid. And let's see what they decide to go for. Is this Icy Wind again? Yep, Icy Wind again. So I think overall, like, this is a pretty solid situation. Excadrill's kind of just sweeping them right now. We're going to see the Golden Go come in, and I think that's completely acceptable. I have Tyranitar in the back to provide a lot of pressure. So my ideal situation is probably to go for a high horsepower and maybe go for the, I think it is probably just to go Tyranitar and high horsepower to Golden Go. Like, I don't know if the Golden Go is going to be able to take the attacks well. I do like the idea of just high horsepower. Might as well preserve the Ogerpon in the back, because Ogerpon can still like heal up on the Porygon with Horn Leech. Tyranitar's in a decent position. I don't know if they click Make It Rain. We'll see. This could be just Protect and Icy Wind again, which is fine. They do Protect, which is acceptable. I'm okay with that. High horsepower and a Golden Go. Let's see what the Porygon went for. Maybe they went for a Tri Attack attempt into the Excadrill. No, they did go for the Icy Wind, which is perfect, as Excadrill is able to hang on. And I just don't see a reason why wouldn't I just go for the high horsepower into the Porygon. And I guess I'd Rock Slide. There's not really much I want to accomplish here. I could also double up the Porygon with high horsepower plus Assurance if I really, really want to. I don't think that's worth it, because I think I'd probably be slower than Porygon still. If it's not min speed, which with Icy Wind probably has like neutral speed. So I like the idea of just Rock Sliding and going for the high horsepower. Because if I don't KO Golden Go with high horsepower, then I think it should just put in range of Rock Slide, which should be good enough. They're going to go for a Terra with Golden Go. Gonna be the Terra Dragon. Okay. If it was Terra Flying, I would have been pretty upset, but overall, like, I think I'd still be okay. Just because the Sulphus Tyranitar is going to be able to live a Make It Rain, high horsepower. Doesn't KO to Golden Go, but Rock Slide should. Shadow Ball is going to come out. Perfect. As Excadrill, sure. Went down to a Shadow Ball. That wasn't a Make It Rain. Tyranitar stays even healthier, so I don't know how they're getting rid of it. They go for a Tri Attack. I guess they're going for some RNG right here. Like, look at how little damage that did. Rock Slide going to be fired off. I get pretty solid damage overall against their team. And Terra-wise, I guess I just Terra the Dragonite, because I don't really need to Terra anything else. They Terra the Golden Ghost, so I don't have to worry about too much. And now I'm pretty sure the Dragonite just cleans up from here. So I will go Dragonite. And I guess I want to go for... I want Assurance? No, I don't want Assurance with Tyranitar. I do like the idea of switching out the Tyranitar, though, because sticking it in neutral, I think, is better for me in the long term. I'm just going to go out into my Wellspring Ogerpon. I'm going to go for the Terra Normal and fire off the Outrage, I think. I could Extreme Speed, too, which I don't think is a bad play. It might be better to go for the Extreme Speed. I guess Extreme Speed isn't too bad here. I was thinking Outrage because Outrage is pretty powerful here. But I don't... Like, it is stronger than Extreme Speed, even with the Terra Normal, I believe. But even if Porygon... So if Porygon doesn't recover here, I'm still going to be able to do a lot of damage. Like, no matter what, Porygon kind of has to recover for a chance, and that means they didn't get an Icy Wind off, so I should be able to double the Porygon the next turn. If they go for Icy Wind, I just 2 Extreme Speed knock out the Porygon, and that's like the only thing that's like I'm a little bit concerned that could stall me out a little bit, because Porygon 2 is just such a bulky Pokemon. As you see, we do a lot of damage with extreme speed. Knock off to get rid of my choice band here. Gets a critical hit, but okay. What did the Porygon decide to lock into? Goes for the Icy Wind as expected, but because of the extreme speed, I should be able to go for the extreme speed into the Porygon and should be able to pick up a knockout that way. I think Porygon should go down to extreme speed. Also looks like by the sand damage, the Ogerpon is the slowest thing on the... Ogerpon is still faster than my opponent, so... yeah, we go for an Ivy Cudgel, I guess, into Incineroar. We go for an extreme speed into the Porygon. Unless the Porygon has Protect, but even then, yeah, like I just finish off the Porygon with Ivy Cudgel. I have Ogerpon that's faster. I have Tyranitar that's still in the back. Unless that Sand was like a 3-way speed tie somehow. Like it just didn't look good for them. So Excadrill able to do a lot of damage with the opener. Yeah, they didn't have the best ways of damaging the Excadrill. Like what they brought just... did not cover the Excadrill well, was able to protect it with the Ogerpon, set up Sword Stance, and yeah, like it did a lot, especially with no Make It Rain. It made it easier. Granted, if they went for Make It Rain, Tyranitar was still going to be able to tank the attack. They shot quite a bit, especially since it wasn't Choice Specs, Terra Steel, Make It Rain, so I didn't have to worry about any of those multipliers. Overall, Excadrill did a lot, and then I was able to clean up with the endgame Dragonite like I was hoping for. All right, we have Incineroar, Amoonguss, Volcarona, Iron Hands, the Fluttermane, and Landorus Incarnate Form. This could be very scary here because the Iron Hands is not a Pokemon I would really say is common, especially. They have double Fake Out. We do have the Excadrill, which is kind of nice against them. I do like the Ogerpon plus the Excadrill probably lead-wise here. I just got to figure out how do I break through the Iron Hands because Iron Hands is not an easy Pokemon for my team to really break through, unfortunately. That's like the one mon that's actually giving me a lot of trouble. But I do have Excadrill, but if they do have a good defensive Terra on the Iron Hands, I'm a little bit concerned. I do like the Dragonite potential. Do I want Dragonite? I don't know. It's probably necessary because I do want a ground immunity for the Landers, which I think might come out here. I do want Tyranitar. I think I do want Dragonite. I think a lot of this game is going to be trying to set up Sword Stance with the Excadrill. And I think that's going to be really big here. If I'm able to set up a Sword Stance with Excadrill, probably puts me in a really good spot. With Sand, they do have the option to go for the Heat Waves, which I'd have to be concerned about. But I do have like the option to switch out too. Incineroar Iron Hands is going to lead here, which... I do have that Excadrill, which is going to be pretty solid against this core. So this is pretty solid. Their Amulet prevents anything. I don't know if they're going to pivot immediately. I could see it, but I'm just going to double protect. I just don't see a reason not to. They have Fake Outs on deck. Just don't really see a reason to risk anything. I can follow me the next turn and go for a Sword Stance. As long as it's not Santier Storm Landorus. I have a feeling it's going to be Substitute though. With the double Fake Out, like Substitute I think makes a lot of sense on the Landorus. Which could be annoying because I don't have Iron Head to pressure the Landorus Eye. A +2 Rock Slide would break the sub, but I also have to pressure the... I do have to pressure the Landorus well enough. Okay, so no switches, which is nice. I do go for a Spiky Shield and a Protect. I don't think I want to Terra Excadrill ever, unless it's the Volcarona coming in for free. We're going to see Fake Out going to come out into Ogerpon, so we gladly take those. What's Incineroar going for? Just a Flare Blitz into the Excadrill? Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the case. Beautiful. So got a pretty good turn. The free chip damage in the Iron Hands is always extremely ideal. I'm going to go for a Follow Me, and I'm just going to set up a Sword Stance now. And we're going to play around a little bit and see what they can do. I don't think they can knock out the Ogerpon unless they're really heavily invested with both Pokemon with Wall Charge Flare Blitz. So here comes the Sword Stance from Excadrill. We're going to be in a pretty powerful position. Parting Shot is super ideal here because the Ogerpon is still being able to take the attacks just as well. But is it Landorus Eye? Again, I do not expect... Landorus does come out, okay. Drain Punch. We're able to tank it. I'm trying to figure out, do I need a Terra for anything? I don't think I need a Terra. I don't think Terra specifically changes too much. So I'm thinking like Sludge Bomb could come out here. from the opponent, and they can go for a Terra with the Iron Hands. And if they do that, Drain Punch is going to do so much damage to Excadrill. I might lose both my Pokemon if that's the case. So I think I gotta tread cautiously here. I actually want to go for a Terra Follow Me, and just to live any attack from the Landers. And I think I high horsepower. Granted, this does lose to Sansir Storm. I don't think this is Sansir Storm Landers. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I want to call a Sludge Bomb into a Drain Punch, which is what I'm Terra Drain Punch specifically, which is what I'm trying to cover for. So we bring out the Terra on the Ogerpon. We're gonna see. Oh wow, they did not go for a. Is this actually Sandseared? Because I feel like you only make this play if you Sandsear. Oh, you have Substitute. Okay. They really just give me the Iron Hands? I was not expecting them to give me the Iron Hands. Maybe it's Terra Fire then? But that's perfect. That's perfect. Getting rid of that Iron Hands, big threat to Tyranitar. So, and Excadrill. Of course, it also threatened my Ogerpon. So very, very, very solid turn. And we're going to see Fluttermane come in. Okay. I don't really see a super hard punish unless they want to go Incineroar now, expecting me to double protect the Scout for what they're going to accomplish. I don't think they pick up a knockout into the... Maybe they could pick up a knockout here into my Ogerpon. You know what? I'm going to go for a double protect here. I'm going to Scout. I don't know. Do they have Incineroar in the back? If they have Incineroar, I have a pivot plan, so that's not too bad. I want to scout for a Terra Fairy because I feel like this might be Choice Specs Fluttermane. We didn't see a booster energy. I'm thinking that this might be hard. Okay, so they do go for the Terra Fairy here, which is good. I Spiky Shield with the Ogerpon and the Excadrill. I'm just scouting for like whatever they want to lock themselves into. I think with the Fluttermane, like high horsepower is just threatening so much damage. Moonblast into Ogerpon. Yeah, so I think this is Terra Fairy Choice Specs, which makes sense. And then we're going to see Earth Power into the Excadrill. Okay, that's super ideal. I think now my easy play here is just to go Tyranitar, get that Sand Speed boost for the Excadrill, outspeed the Fluttermane because it's not Speed Booster. And unless this Fluttermane, I feel like you only make that play if you're Choice Specs, or maybe you go for it if like it's your only out is to crit the Ogerpon. But yeah, we will go for the high horsepower into the Fluttermane. They're going to retreat the Fluttermane, which is smart for them. So they bring out the Incineroar. I think this is pretty acceptable for me because all I really need is some Rock Slide damage. Yeah, because even if I lose Excadrill here to the Earth Power, like I was okay with taking... As long as I get the knockout into the left slot, I think regardless that this is acceptable. So we bring out the Tyranitar. We have the Assault Vest, so I feel like we just take attacks and then we can Extreme Speed clean up in the end game. Here comes the high horsepower, knocks out the Incineroar, which is great. And Earth Power is going to be fired off into the Excadrill, but Excadrill... Okay, so I think Fluttermane most likely go... There's like one complication I could see, and it involves me missing. But we will go out into the Wellspring Ogerpon. I'm pretty sure I'll live a Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam. So I think they have to Moonblast to KO the Ogerpon. At least that's what I'm certain about. Like, this game is technically not over because the Landorus still has a decent amount of health. I do want to go for a Rock Slide because I can break the sub. I get to chip the Fluttermane to put in range of the Extreme Speed. The question is what the Fluttermane's going to do. I feel like I would let Dazzling Gleam with the +1 special defense boost. So I think the play is to always just go for a Horn Leech into the Fluttermane. Get a bit of recovery potentially. We're going to see a Moonblast be fired off. This is going to be fired off into the Wellspring Ogerpon. Let's see if it KOs. It does KO here, so I think I made some really strong plays overall. And because we're Assault Vest Tyranitar, Rock Slide should pick up the knock. I think we should live the Earth Power. That's what I was trying to say. Do we live the Earth Power? We need to. Like, this is Sand Special Defense boost with Assault Vest easily. Okay. We do land a Rock Slide, which is really, really ideal. So we're able to knock out the Landorus' Substitute, as well as put that Fluttermane into range of Extreme Speed. That has to be Choice Specs Fluttermane to pick up the knockout. We saw no booster energy earlier, so I do always have a very safe Extreme Speed in the Fluttermane. And then I don't think the Landers could stall, I guess, my extreme speeds. They had to get pretty lucky, I think. So we go for assurance into the Landers because we don't want to miss, and we just go for extreme speed into Flutter Mane. Because they Terra Fairied, they're now vulnerable to the extreme speed, but they needed to Terra in order to get the knockout on the Wellspring Ogerpon. So it was kind of a trap, which I was laying out. We do get the knockout into the Flutter Mane for the knockout. Beautiful. And Earth Power is probably going to come out into Tyranitar. Yep. But the thing is, I have 7 extreme speeds. Dragonite's easily bulky enough to survive 1 Sludge Bomb from Landorus. I think even if it's a critical hit, and then even with the remaining sand turns, I should be fine. So I think we should have this. I'm pretty sure we 2-shot the Landorus Eye with extreme speed. I think the only way is if multiple protects somehow happen here from the Landorus to stall out. Extreme speed, yep, easily a 2-shot into the Landorus. Sludge Bomb going to be fired off into Dragonite. Nowhere near enough damage. They can't poison me because of the sheer force, negating the secondary effects to increase the power of it, but not enough power even for critical hits. They're now going to go for how many protects they need? 6. Like, that's why I was like, I think they need a triple protect into Sludge Bomb into a triple protect again. I think that was like the only way. That was like the only way I think I got screwed here. But yeah, gonna be able to beat them down with a cleanup extreme speed. And yeah, Excadrill able to do a ton of damage. That's why I was surprised about no Terra on Iron Hands. I think it had to be fairy, or not fairy, fire at that point, because that I was really expecting KO the Ogerpon. Maybe they expected the Terra, but yeah, overall Excadrill was able to do a lot of work right there. Put on pressure, got 2 knockouts, and then I was able to clean up thankfully with the endgame Dragonite, which was just really tough for my opponent to handle even without the Sword of Ruin. Whimsicott, Wellspring Ogerpon, Flutter Mane, Entei, Male Entity, or Shifu. I imagine it's Dark Shifu on this team. Tailwind and Male Entity. I remember when Male Entity had a signature, it would only be able to have access to Trick Room. But now it's like a worse version of Female Entity. The only reason you really run it is because it has less bulk, a little bit more special attack. I think it has 10 more speed points. It's a really awkward mon. So I'm kind of curious if like that will actually play into a factor. They look really weak to Excadrill, but they do have a Darker Shifu I gotta keep in mind. I do think that I like the idea of my Torn is pretty solid. I don't mind leaning Flutter Mane against a Sand team. I actually really like the idea of Torn and the Wellspring Ogerpon and then Tyranitar Excadrill in the back. I might be a little bit too weak to Darker Shifu, which is something I'm concerned about. So the thing is, I need Torn to match their Tailwind. It's also good into the Darker Shifu and probably the Wellspring Ogerpon immediately. I like my Wellspring Ogerpon for the Entei. And I need Sand if I want speed advantage. It also allows me to break the Whimsicott and get rid of it if it's a Focus Sash variant at any time point, which I think is worth it. I might be a little bit too weak to Darker Shifu, which is what I'm concerned about. But I can't really bring Dragonite because Extreme Speed's just not going to work in Psychic Terrain. And I don't know if they're bringing the Male Entity. They could. Like, it's just a surprise factor. I have no clue if they would. But it's definitely an option I would have to keep in mind. So I don't think Dragonite would be a Darker Shifu counter. Qianpao, they have a lot of physical attackers, which is I'm worried about because it might affect my other slot. We're going to see the Whimsicott Flutter Mane lead. Oh, wow. They led it against Excadrill, which I'm surprised about. Okay. So I do lead the Torn plus the Wellspring Ogerpon, which I don't think this is too bad of a play. I do have a few options. I think the idea is just to go for a Bleak Wind immediately and go for a Terra, I think, and just go for a Hornleech into the Flutter Mane. I think Hornleech plus the Bleak Wind should KO, but maybe it's a bit greedy and I just go for the Ivy Cudgel. I'm a little bit worried if they have Sunny Day on the Whimsicott and they go for Sunny Day, because that could be an option. That would actually be a really powerful option, and I'd probably want to consider that actually. You know what? I will go for the Hornleech. It might be a little bit greedy, but I think it would be worth it. No Terra on their side, it looks like. Unless their Flutter Mane is Trick Room Flutter Mane, or they just decide not to Terra. This could go really poorly, or this could go fine. We'll see. Because I'm trying to figure out what they're going to try to commit here. This could also be Fake Tears if they want to, but I don't think they're going to go for Fake Tears if I could Tailwind Ivy Cudgel. Ooh, Protect. Okay. They just Tailwind. Okay. So I do end up using my... Were they booster energy? I don't think they were booster energy. So unless I completely missed it, I might have missed it. Rain the Whims got really low. Doesn't look like it faints to sand, however. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one. I like the idea of just going for a Tailwind. Are they gonna let me match the Tailwind, I guess is the question? Or do I just Bleak Wind again? I don't think I mind Bleak Winding here. For the KO on the Whimsicott. I guess I'm gonna Ivy Cudgel to Flutter Mane. I don't know. They have a few options with the Whimsicott. They can go for Encore, which is fine. I guess I won't get Tailwind up this turn, but I should get rid of the Flutter Mane here, which is nice. Like a double knockout is not too bad because I could switch Torn if I want to get Tailwind up later. I also will confirm. Ooh, Life Orb Flutter Mane is interesting here. Bleak Wind does connect. All I needed to hit was the Whimsicott, I think. I think Flutter Mane was going down to this. So even though we did not get Tailwind up, we've stalled out 2 Tailwind turns, which is nice on their part. And we get to scout for like what the remainders are. A Flutter Mane is eliminated. Would like to keep Torn so I can Tailwind in the back, but the question is, what are the last Pokemon? Is it Darker Shifu plus Wellspring Ogerpon? Is it Entei? Or Shifu comes out, which is not too surprising. I do break a Sash with always the Sand, which is nice. Inity. That's not what I expected. That is not what I expected. Okay. I like the idea of just going for a Bleak Wind and going for an Ivy Cudgel. Inity does not have access to Follow Me, so I don't know about this. Yeah, I think I just try to keep punishing their Shifu for as much damage as I possibly can. Like, they could go for Helping Hand Wicked Blow, pick up a knockout, but I'd still be able to put on a lot. Expanding Force. Ooh, but that's not enough. Oh. You know, I forget that the male entity gets access to Expanding Force now, but the female one doesn't. So I thought that they both didn't get it, but the male one does get it. Huh. And now I lose because of that. Oh, that's just a huge mistake on my part. Now I know that the male entity gets the Expanding Force. So my best play was just to switch into Tyranitar, preserve one of my Mons, no matter which one it is. Probably just Spike a Shield with... No, not Spike a Shield, but attack with the other is fine. And then I still have Torn around. Granted, it's not a guaranteed win, but I do think that it was like a lot better than what I just did, basically. So... How fast is my Excadrill? Am I faster than their Shifu? No. If I was Jolly, this might be, but yeah, I will go for a horsepower into her Shifu, and I guess I got to go for a low kick in her Shifu. Granted, they do have to close combat here unless they want to Wicked Blow my Excadrill, and if they do, it's an interesting decision. Expanding Force is going to come out here. If they're Choice Lock, this would be a really interesting endgame, but I don't think this is the case. Wait, I am faster than her Shifu. What? Were they actually Choice Locked? That's a slower Shifu, so it's not Focus Sash. Because they have Tailwind up. I didn't get Tailwind up in this game. I get rid of their Shifu. Oh, wow. They were Choice Banded. And they were slow. So if they targeted Tyranitar, they had close combat. High horsepower was just two-shotting it. Granted, the Entity, I think, could still win the game because of Expanding Forces, but now... Pretty sure I win the game with Tyranitar. Don't tell me you're Terra fighting on the Entity. Oh, Terra Fairy. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, there's no way you're Terra fighting. Thousand Gleam. I do have the Sand Special Defense boost with the Assault Vest, so I should tank one. Oh, I tanked the attacks easily. That might not, depending on the rolls, we should be fine here. That Assurance also did a ton of damage. So it really just comes down to, do I hit a Rock Slide, I think. If I missed a Rock Slide, then okay, it looks like they got a little bit higher, but Rock Slide does connect, should pick up the knockout. Sand would otherwise. What the heck, man? I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. The choice band slow or Shifu plus the Entity with Terra Fairy, but the Dazzling Gleam just did no damage. I think Assault Vest Tyranitar actually is so strong. It was actually really strong here. But yeah, definitely some errors. I probably could have gotten into a better position with Tailwind, especially since they were slower, I guess, or Shifu at that point. Like Tyranitar was probably just a safe switch and just follow me. I think would have put me in a really good position. Terrakion, Whimsicott, Iron Crown, Indeedee with the Fluttermane and Heatran. Definitely a scary team. My matchup is not amazing into this, unfortunately. Yeah, how am I breaking through this? So the problem I have is Whimsicott Terrakion looks extremely difficult for my team to handle. I can't counter the Terrakion because of Psychic Terrain either. Oh boy, this is looking really rough. My Ogerpon's slower than Terrakion, so it's not exactly an amazing option. I think my play lead-wise, this might be crazy, but I think I have to go for it. I'm leaning the Tyranitar plus Wellspring Ogerpon. I think my idea is I have to follow media attacks from the Whimsicott and then the Terrakion. We'll see how it goes. Bring the Excadrill in the back, I think, is really solid. And then last Pokemon, probably the Xianpao, so I can Ice Spin her way to Terrain, and I also have Sacred Sword for the Heatran. We'll see. This looks like a really tough one, just because Terrakion plus Whimsicott is actually really threatening to my team. Close combat does so much damage. The beat up I always have to be wary of. I'm leaning Tyranitar just so I can low kick the Terrakion and hopefully pick up the knockout. I also got to avoid Rock Slide flinches, and who knows the array of Whimsicott moves in best of ones. So we will see Whimsicott Terrakion, which is not too surprising here. I do lead the Wellspring Ogerpon plus Tyranitar. I'm just trying to bait them, hopefully maybe go for a close combat. I'm gonna go for Follow Me, and I'm gonna go for a low kick into the Terrakion. Low kick is gonna do a massive amount of damage to Terrakion, maybe even pick up the knockout if they don't tear us. So only ways that I get screwed here, I think, are Protect and Taunt from the Whimsicott specifically. I think any other move combination is fine. So yeah, I do think that this was my best option. Okay, no Protect is really good. So we're gonna see the Whimsicott go for a Tailwind, perfectly acceptable. Terrakion, what did you click here? Rock Slide, okay. We even dodge. If that was Tyranitar, okay. Okay, we didn't flinch, which is the big one. Low kick picks up the knockout Terrakion. That's such a big knockout. It's like, oh my goodness, getting rid of that Terrakion is so big. We also break the sash on Whimsicott here if it is focus sash, but that's such a big knockout on Terrakion. Holy cow. Rock Slide chip on Ogerpon would have been nice, but I think Ogerpon was my least expendable member. It's why I wanted to, like, I was okay with trading for Follow Me as long as I got the damage into Terrakion. But again, my main game plan was just making sure that Terrakion didn't go crazy with the justified potential beat up attacks here, but we're gonna see the Iron Crown come out. All right, Work Drive, gonna get a special attack boost. I wouldn't be surprised if Indeedee's as the last Pokemon as anticipated. We're gonna go for a Follow Me, I suppose, and a Lash Out, or not Lash Out, Assurance here. And I don't really see a problem with it. If they Protect, sure, but let's see what the Whimsicott did. Does it have Taunt? Encore is fine here. Moonblast is also acceptable. Yeah, they went for Moonblast, which I'm okay with. Because I'm expecting a lot from... Actually, I guess I could play aggressive now because they saw how I was willing to commit to Follow Me this turn. I could potentially go for a Spike and Shield plus a Assurance into the Iron Crown. Or do I make the safe play just Follow Me again? There really is no reason not to go for Follow Me, I think. Yeah, I'll just Follow Me, you know? I'm just going to Follow Me Assurance because I'm thinking about the lines. I think it's very safe here. We're going to see a Terra come out from the... Is this the Iron Crown? It is the Iron Crown. What Terra are you? Terra Water, Terra Blast. Okay. So I can't threaten it with Sucker Punch or High Horsepower immediately. The Terra Blast actually is something I'd have to consider. That's actually a threat. Moonblast gonna be fired off into the Ogerpon. They went for Expanding Forest. Okay. I'm not really worried about Terra Water, Terra Blast. I am worried about the maybe a double from Whimsicott can pick up the knockout. Assurance. Pretty solid damage. Not a knockout, but still pretty good. I think after the Sand Chip, I think it goes down to Low Kick. I'm gonna go out into Excadrill, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go Excadrill. Maybe I should have went in. No, because Sheehan Pal's threatening because they still have Tailwind up. Yeah. I like the idea of just Swords Dancing with Excadrill. I feel like Iron Crown's gonna protect here. They could go for Terra Blast, but I feel like it's really unlikely. Although, okay, maybe this is not as easy as I thought because this Iron Crown is actually giving me a lot more problems. I really, really want to predict Iron Crown to protect, but they could go for a Terra Blast and a Moon Blast. I do want to low kick the Iron Crown and High Horsepower. You know what? Because if they go for the offensive Terra Blast, it works out. They actually go out in an NDD here, which is really good for me because low kick should be more power than Iron Crown, I imagine. That mod should be heavy, I assume. So low kick should be more powerful than the Assurance that got boosted by the same type attack bonus. I think with the sit. Your Terra Water, Terra Blast, and Focus Blast, you have no Protect, or you have no Tachyon Cutter. Oh, thank goodness I went for the High Horsepower knockout right there. Game's not over yet, actually, though. As much as I've gotten all that momentum, game is still not over. Don't even get me started. What the heck, man? I was prepared for one of either Focus Blast or Terra Water, Terra Blast, but I saw the Terra Water. I'm like, okay, this... Or maybe it doesn't even have Terra Blast, actually. Because it might be Terra Water for a defensive type. I thought it'd be just Terra Blast in that case. No, they had Focus Blast. Did we see Iron Crown ever protect? Actually, no, did we? We might have. Yeah, we did actually see it protect because we saw protect Moonblast. Okay, so it was just Terra Water with Focus Blast and not Terra Blast instead. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Okay. We just go for Rock Slide and we're going to go for Ice Spinner into the Whimsicott. That's going to be forfeit because they have like 2 support Pokemon. Technically, I think, I guess it depends on the move on Entity because Whimsicott's probably not able to do enough damage to my Excadrill. I don't have Iron Head though, so I don't think they knew that. But I didn't have Iron Head to like guarantee win the game. So like they could have had maybe a bunch of RNG, follow me, Moonblast, knock out Sheehan Pal, and then maybe there's something that could be salvaged there, but Terra Water, Focus Blast. All right, let's go over the games. In game 1, Excadrill was able to set up Swords Dances very comfortably next to the Wellspring Ogerpon and get 2 solid hits with a perfect cleanup for my Dragonite and Tyranitar to finish off the weakened Porygon 2 and Incineroar. In game 2, this game could have been dangerous, but eliminating the Iron Hands was huge alongside setting up a perfect endgame with extreme speed for Dragonite after the Fluttermane Terra becoming vulnerable to that extreme speed. In game 3, I didn't know male Entity kept expanding force, but good to know. Would have been great to pivot into my Tyranitar if so, but Assault's Tyranitar was able to clutch out the remaining Pokemon, especially because I assume it's Choice Bandit or Shifu that was locked into the Wicked Blow. In game 4, the immediate knockout onto the Terrakion was huge as my opponent was only left with Iron Crown as a damage dealer, which I was able to focus down, and then Whimsicott with Entity couldn't do much damage in the end. I've tried out Excadrill on a few different teams, and this one's easily my favorite. I feel the consistency of being able to sub Swords Dance with this team and actually be able to abuse it. It's really nice with that Wellspring Ogerpon combination. The Assault's Tyranitar has been so good on this team specifically, just being able to sponge up the special attacks and really nice option, and then the Sheehan Pal Dragonite to help enable those, or just being able to clean up with heavy hits from the Sheehan Pal with Sucker Punch as well as providing that sort of ruin. It's an absolutely incredible combo. If you'd like to try out the team, you can try it out with the rental code on your screen. You can check out the details of the team and the creator down below in the description, and of course subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.